My name is Sarah Archer, and I am the VP of Sales at ChartMogul. Most folks in SaaS know us because we help those subscription businesses grow faster using SaaS metrics. And really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I told you this off call. Big ChartMogul fanboy here, so I'm really excited to have you help us share this great product with the PLG community.
Yeah, happy to. I've been with ChartMogul for 5 years, and when people ask me why I stay, I say it's because it's a product that really delivers on what it promises. It's an opinionated analytics product that I think has a really strong sense of self, and that's why it's such a joy to sell. I can tell you about it. What do you think?
Let's go.
Fabulous. So ChartMogul is a subscription analytics solution designed for businesses with recurring revenue. And of course, we know that best-in-class SaaS businesses are doubling their annual run rate every year. This is according to aggregate anonymized data from ChartMogul. And of course, like if you're a sales leader like me, or you are an entrepreneur, a CEO, a founder, you want to see this number move up and to the right. And hopefully you want to do that inside of ChartMogul. Let me just tell you what ChartMogul is, right? So ChartMogul is a subscription analytics product. And what it does is it automatically ingests and transforms all of your customer and billing data to the subscription metrics that we know SaaS businesses care about. So if you use many data sources to invoice your customers like Stripe, Wire, ACH, ChargeBee, App Store Connect, we're going to take all of that data, clean it, normalize it, and then calculate all of the metrics we know subscription businesses care about. And so in ChartMogul, you get access to these real-time SaaS metrics in a really beautiful dashboard, which I'm going to show you when we pivot to the product. But these are the acronyms we obsess about: LTV, customer lifetime value, churn, retention, cohorts, cash flow, etc. And so what you see then in the product is a dashboard that looks like this. And for most product-led businesses, for most founders, this is really mission control, where you're monitoring and managing the health of recurring revenue. So we can start here and dive into a few of the reports if you don't have any questions.
Yeah, this is amazing. I will just make a comment because you mentioned that you're an opinionated product. I've been a user for a long time, and I don't think you're that. At least you may be opinionated, but it's not in an intrusive way. Like, for example, another very opinionated product is Basecamp, but they really make you change the way you work. It's really strongly opinionated. I think with ChartMogul, it is. This is my perception. I'm not being paid to record this. It's guiding you to do things the right way, which makes it easy for you to compare with other peers and benchmark with other peers and whatnot, and know what's working, what's not, in a more objective way. But you're the ambassador here of ChartMogul, and I'd love if you could guide us through the top five things that the users care about.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And to your point, I tend to agree. I mean, I think that ChartMogul has the baked-in industry best practices from having worked with thousands of SaaS businesses over the last 9 years. And so when I say opinionated, I mean, I've seen some crazy things when it comes to considering what counts as recurring revenue. And ChartMogul sort of forces enough structure,
exactly,
but not too much. Yeah.
In
fact, we've got investors, incubators that will force their portfolio companies to use ChartMogul because of the way that we handle the data and then calculate the metrics.
Yeah, creating board decks becomes a task that is like a half an hour task as far as reporting is concerned. And that half an hour is mostly like trying to understand why the ups or why the downs, and not so much getting the data and putting it in a visual, easy to consume way.
Yeah, exactly. So of course, people use ChartMogul for top line reporting. The dashboard, I think, is really nice to get a quick sense for how things are going. I particularly like this breakdown chart, and I refresh it pretty frequently to see how things are going in a given quarter. Especially as a sales leader, I'm very concerned about new business, but really all the magic happens in the underlying reports. So with ChartMogul, you get this slew of KPIs and reports. You get a visualization at the top and then an underlying data table, which describes what's happening. So this here is probably my favorite. It's the MRR movements chart. And what you see is that we're automatically classifying MRR from the data that you give us. And so ChartMogul listens to webhooks from whatever system you integrate with our data platform. And it says, is this new business? Is this expansion, contraction, or churn? And so you can start to sort of explore this data further to see, what's happening on a quarterly basis. You can isolate this data if you just care about maybe an overall sales trend. And then you can click into any given quarter in this example to sort of drill down and see the underlying activities. So, when I'm talking to, for example, a sales candidate and I'm telling them, what makes a great quarter at ChartMogul, I know that closing some larger deals while also having, some smaller customers come in really contributes to a great quarter. So this is a simple, quick example of what can be done, but there's quite a lot of things to explore here.
But I love that the chart is the one that tells the whole story of the business when you look at it at a glance.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, you can do the top line reporting and you can sort of see numbers move up and to the right. But the real magic of ChartMogul is when you start to layer on some filtering and segmentation. So let's take perhaps like a saved chart here. I'll show you that what we've done here is we've taken an MRR report, which is showing MRR move up and to the right. And we've added these filters and segmentation to start to understand the trend at a deeper level. How much of your self-serve motion or how much of your sales-led motion is contributing to your top line growth. And so here you can see, of course, sales-led is this darker line that maybe has a slightly better inflection than perhaps your sales assist. And so then you can start to take strategic decisions about what's contributing to or influencing your growth. This is like where it gets quite fun.
Cool. And the definition of those segments was done based on specific business attributes. It's not something that I believe you ChartMogul helps us with, or is it?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the former. So if you take something like maybe you want to look at subscribers, for example, let me show you how these filters work. ChartMogul is going to give you all the out-of-the-box filters, like plan or has discount, for example. Mm-hmm. But you also have the ability to add all of these custom fields or attributes and segment by pretty much anything imaginable. So another example is maybe you're a chief marketing officer or you're trying to determine whether or not your Google ads budget is returning any recurring revenue. You could add that source data to customers in ChartMogul, and then you can see MRR by marketing channel. So this is a really powerful example of like how this can be used to then drive decisions. Should we spend as much money on that conference or should we spend as much money on LinkedIn ads? But this attribution data isn't coming from ChartMogul. It's coming from data that you enrich ChartMogul with.
Good. And I'm sure we could apply the same to, for example, customer churn, right? The same, which marketing channels, how marketing channels perform as far as churn is concerned. That is also something that can be quickly checked, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that just here in a customer churn chart. You can add a filter to say, show
with the same segment.
Exactly. And then you can actually just download this with a cool background, maybe copy it, send it to somebody in a Slack message and say, hey, what the heck, why did we spend so much money on that campaign? And you can see this in cohorts as well. Cohorts really aren't all that useful without segmentation, in my opinion. But grossly underutilized cohorts, super useful in understanding trends in the subscriber life cycle. So what's happening, after those folks become subscribers. So there's maps here as well. It's like, I think this looks really nice in a deck. It kind of demos fun, but it's like not as useful maybe as cohorts or some of the charts we've been looking at.
Right. Can you go back to cohorts just a little bit, and maybe there are some folks who don't know how to read this. Can you walk us through a little bit how to read it?
Yeah. So we offer a number of churn and retention cohorts, and cohorts essentially tell the story about how a cohort is just a simple name for a group of customers, right? And the way we define a cohort in ChartMogul is those folks that became a subscriber in this example in the month of November last year. And so you can see that 20 people entered this cohort. Here they are. And then when we look over the length of the cohort or the visualization of the cohort, we can see that, in this first month, 20% of those folks actually canceled at the same time they became a customer. And so where cohorts start to become useful is if you do identify a trend, like, for example, imagine you have really bad retention or really bad churn in month 2. Can you do something from a product perspective or an onboarding perspective to start to improve that? And if you implement that change, for example, in January, January of in this example this year, what does that April cohort look like? Can you see the impact of that change you've made in that next subscriber life cycle? So this is how cohorts are useful, and I can drop a resource about it. It's a little bit of a rabbit hole, but that's the gist.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think it was clear. What how long does it take to set up, and what is the typical setup that is required to get this working?
Yeah. So the vast majority of customers can get set up really in a matter of minutes. What drives the data in ChartMogul is this underlying subscription data. So we always say it's the same invoices you send your customers. And we have many out-of-the-box integrations that are click to configure. A lot of folks use Stripe. Some folks use Curly, PayPal, ChargeBee. The average ChartMogul customer uses 2 or 3 data sources because maybe 90% of your business pays through Stripe, but perhaps you get a really big lead that wants to pay via wire or ACH. How are you going to get all that data into a dashboard so you have a single source of truth for your SaaS metrics? Well, in that example, you'll just connect multiple data sources. You can click to configure your Stripe data. It takes really, truly seconds. Or if you need to integrate some form of custom data, you can do that directly by importing CSVs. For most businesses, we recommend the API just because it's a better solution overall and long term. So sort of depends on what you're, go for it.
No, go ahead. Finish up. I thought you had finished. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, all good. I was just going to say, I would say, if you're using these click to configure sources, minutes. If you're building a custom integration, which is not uncommon, it's actually about 40% of our sales cycles run that way. It takes 2 to 4 weeks maybe.
Okay. And once you have the data in, then all those standard reports are there for you automatically. So you will not have to create them from scratch.
Exactly.
Like the MRR report, the cohort, all of those things that you shared are already built.
They are, yeah. There is a little bit of control that we give you around how those metrics are calculated, and we do that by way of what you see on my screen here, which is the subscription analytics settings. So before you import your data, we always recommend maybe having a look at these first. This will allow you to make some decisions about, for example, when to recognize churn. Do you consider something canceled at the time of cancellation or at the end of the service period? So, it's not a laundry list of settings, and the default work for most SaaS businesses, but we have some flexibility depending on your business and billing practices.
Nice. What have we not seen yet? I have a few ideas. You have a much better sense of what matters than me.
No, I mean, we've talked very shortly about reports, about cohorts. I've taken you to this destination in the app, which is called customers. So, of course, you get, at the highest level, the dashboard, underneath that, the reports. But you can actually click into the individual customer and see all of the transactions and data associated with them. So maybe it's useful to look at like one of these example customers where you can see here, we're showing you how much MRR this individual customer contributes to the business on the whole, how long they've been a subscriber, and their customer status as well. And now this is coming directly from the data source that we just looked at. So if you use something like Stripe, this is just all of this data directly from Stripe, all of the metadata, if you use something like custom fields in Stripe. And when we talked about custom attributes and filtering and segmentation, here's where you have the ability to enrich those records with additional information like what was their lead source, who sold to them, who's their account manager, are they a churn risk? And so this is where you can start to do some really fun things. The subscription data will show you sort of overall usage of their MRR, and you can really see all the way down to the transaction. This is quite useful.
Yeah, it's almost as if, at least in my daily usage of ChartMogul, I am looking at this all the time. So if I have a call with a customer, an onboarding call with a customer, some type of interaction with a customer, coming here and understanding who this customer is, how important or relevant the customer is, and whatnot. It's almost as if this was a little CRM almost, which is something that you folks have been exploring, actually, right?
Yeah, I mean, what was interesting is we had folks that were ostensibly using ChartMogul like a CRM. And so what they would do is they'd use these custom attributes and they'd put a deep link into a HubSpot record. And then they'd click into HubSpot and they'd send an email, and then they come back to ChartMogul to do, further analysis. And so, we had the idea, well, what if we just built all of that capability directly in ChartMogul? And so in April, we released ChartMogul CRM, which is built on top of our analytics platform. And you can actually see some of the inklings of that here on this record, but maybe let me take you to a sample opportunity. So ChartMogul CRM is something my team's been using since February. And essentially, you have now the ability to drive all of the activities that contribute to recurring revenue in ChartMogul instead of just do the analysis. So here you can see, like a sample prospect. They're not a customer yet. In fact, they're just a new lead. But you can email customers directly. So this is really cool. We're seeing product-led businesses take advantage of this. They're just like they're just piping all of their trial leads into ChartMogul, and then they're emailing them directly, like hey, can we get some feedback? We'll soon bring call capabilities into ChartMogul. My team is using ChartMogul to add discovery notes, to create and manage opportunities. And so really all the things that you need for simple sales workflow exist, and you don't have to go through the business of like implementing a CRM and a SaaS metric solution. So that's the proposition we're really excited about.
Cool. Congrats on the launch. I'm looking forward. I'm sure people will be looking forward to see where you take this, because if you can bring the simplicity, same level of simplicity, so same design principles to the CRM that you did with the reporting, that will be amazing for everybody. So good.
It's gonna take some time.
Excited to see what you're gonna do.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time. I'm in a competitive space, a big swing. but we're cautiously optimistic and we're getting some good feedback about it. So watch this space, as they say.
Yeah, of course. Now, one final question, maybe actually two. My next question is, how much does this cost?
Sure. So ChartMogul is free for businesses up to 10K in monthly recurring revenue, free forever. There's no feature gating. You're going to get everything that we've talked about today. The vast majority of our customers, rather, are on our scale plan, which is based on how much ARR you run through ChartMogul. So I'll just pull up the pricing page here. Here's our free plan, less than 10K in MRR. Here's our scale plan, de-risked to you. You can sign up monthly at $1 million in ARR. You would pay $316 a month, $4,940,000. So our larger customers are on custom quotes and a 12-month commit, but you can get started straight away and see the pricing on our site.
Good. Thank you. And the other thing, the other question I wanted to ask is, what other questions should I have asked if I were evaluating ChartMogul based on your experience that we may have missed for some reason?
Maybe data destinations, right? Like a lot of times we get compared to building out custom dashboards and something like a BI tool, which is maybe an option for businesses, but we'd argue ChartMogul is a simpler, a faster way to get the subscription metrics and charts you need. But what's interesting is ChartMogul also sort of aims to be a complementary part of the data stack. So people don't really discover this during their initial evaluation, but it starts to become quite useful later on. Of course, in the data platform sources section here, we're going to ingest all of that raw customer and billing data. But you're not necessarily beholden to ChartMogul. We've had this concept of destinations where you can send data out of ChartMogul into either daily workflow tools like Slack, but also into data warehouses. So you can pipe data into Redshift, and then you can use it in combinations with other data sets. Maybe you have a really talented technical team or data team, and you want to look at ChartMogul alongside something else in Looker or Tableau. We really try to facilitate this. And I think this is quite interesting when you're thinking about how all the tools and tech you have work together.
Yeah, especially now with the modern data stack thing going on. What destinations do you support? Can we just look at it real quick?
Yeah,
Intercom, email, Amazon, cool. Well, the usual suspects. That's really cool. Snowflake and nice. Good. So thank you so much for taking the time to show ChartMogul to us, and we look forward to see what other things you're going to be doing to make our life simpler as far as reporting numbers and making the numbers now, right? With the new thing.
No doubt. Yeah. We'll keep at it. You know, we're ambitious and we still have lots we want to do. So working hard for sure.
Thank you, Sarah. It was great.
Thanks. Take care.